Hello, Aurora lovers. This is DaleBoan from DaleBoan Imaging, and this is Aurora Hunting 101. This is episode 33, a review of the Aurora Alerts app. Aurora Alerts is one of the simpler apps, and it's very good for Aurora hunters that are just starting out and don't know a lot of the technical information. So let's take a look. Well, I have a little technical issue. I recorded this on my phone and it recorded, but it didn't sync the video and the audio, so they're completely out of sync. And when I try and load it into the video editor, it gets even worse. So I'm going to re-record the audio. I want to use the video from this because I recorded it during a solar storm, and there's interesting data, so you can see what it looks like when there's actual good data going on. So I want to use the slides or video or whatever I end up turning it into, and I'm just going to re-record the audio that goes with it, which is this. This is the Aurora Alerts app, and the home screen looks like this. And this is pretty much all the information you need to know at night. You have the current KP value and then the predicted KP value in 1 hour. I'm not certain where that comes from because KP is a max over a 3-hour period, but maybe I don't know what they're doing to get that. I don't think that's coming from NOAA. And this is the chance of them being visible overhead and on the horizon. So those are the sort of the core values that most people use, especially when you're starting out. People learn about KP, which is indirectly a measure of the aurora. It's not a particularly good measure of the aurora, but that's what we have, so that's what we tend to use. And it's got information about clouds. So if there's 100% clouds now or 100% clouds in the future, that's not going to be good. You're not going to be able to see anything. It's got sunrise and sunset time. So sunrise at 8:07, set at 15:34, 5:34. And then the moon phase, so it's 45% illuminated, so the moon is going to start getting annoying. It's got the moon set time at 3:28 in the afternoon, and it doesn't have a time for the sunrise, and I think that is because that when I recorded this, the moon was rising just after midnight, so there wasn't actually a moonrise that day. It happened after midnight, so that that could throw you off a little bit, but it's a quarter moon, so the moon is up about half of the night, which is pretty typical. Here is the satellite data, so that's sort of the next level of things you need to know about, but for the most part, the only thing you really care about is the BZ. The satellite that they're using to measure this is the Discover satellite, and it is about 45 minutes away from the Earth. So that's the lead time in predictions generated from this, and the predictions that are generated from that are the 30-minute Aurora forecast, and Aurora is in the name of that one, so that is actually an Aurora forecast, but it's made off of this real-time satellite data. And as I said, the most important one is the BZ in here. When the BZ is negative like that, that means energy flows from the solar wind into the Earth's magnetic field fairly easily. It is the Z in there, the Z is the north-south component of the magnetic field that matches the Earth's magnetic field. And when it's negative, it's mismatched with the Earth's magnetic field, and there's an attraction that happens, and it disturbs the Earth's magnetic field more, and energy and particles flow into the Earth's magnetic field. The overall field is BT, so you can see that the overall field is 10, but only 4 of it is in the north-south direction. So there's actually a B, X, Y, and Z, and that's the three-dimensional components of the field, and T is the total of those. So it's not strongly in the negative. It could be up to almost 10. It will never be over 10, that total. But, there'll be energy flowing into the aurora, helping it to expand and sustain itself. Once it goes positive, that's cut off for the most part, and the aurora tends to start shrinking, so the lower edge moves further south, or further north towards the North Pole. When it's negative, it'll expand further south. Speed is the speed of the solar wind, and that's what varies the lead time for this, how long it takes to get to the Earth. Density is just how many particles in there, and that can be easily much higher than 10. 10 is sort of a typical amount. KP7 is very strong. KP6 is very strong. That doesn't happen too often. So there's a lot of information packed into that single display. And if I scroll up here a little bit, on the next screen, so the long-term forecast here is the 3-hour forecast that NOAA puts out, which is the best forecast that we have available to us, and it is in KP, so that's what we use. So KP is the maximum value over a 3-hour period, and they're fixed 3-hour periods. I happen to be in a time zone where I'm 6 hours different from UTC time, so my times are actually just shifted by 2 sets of hours. If you're in a different time zone, these might not actually be 0 to 3. It might be 1 to 4 or 2 to 5 for your local time zones, but at least the app adjusts these times to your local time. And you can see here that nothing's going to be visible. So that would be just after midnight. So when I recorded this was past midnight, so I was recording it in the afternoon. So 12 to 15, and then you can see there's KP5 is visible usually down to the US and maybe into some of the northern US states. Same with KP6, so those are very good numbers in terms of KP. That BZ can affect that considerably, but in general, those are really good numbers. And then you can see that tomorrow it's going to start dropping off. So generally, in winter, you've got from 6 p.m., 1800 hours to 6 a.m., maybe a little bit longer in the depths of winter if you're in the northern and much of Canada, maybe outside of Ontario, which is southern Ontario, is quite a bit further south than most of the rest of Canada. And the number on the side here is cloud cover, so I'm not going to be seeing anything where I am based on this cloud cover. And you can scroll down here. See if I can get this to scroll down. There we go. And so it's got tomorrow and the day afterwards. So it's a 3-day forecast. It's usually not 3 full days because it comes out at certain times of the day. And, if it comes out midday, it's got the some amount of time from the current day that's, it starts sort of in the middle of the first day, so you only get 2.5 days. That sort of thing happens with it. So that's what most people make decisions on when to make plan hunting. So this is KP. So the 3-day, that's what I was trying to get to. The 3-day forecast is important because it's based on events that have happened on the sun. And it takes about 2 to 4 days for something that happens on the sun to get to Earth. So this is based on events that have actually happened on the sun. There is, unfortunately, in here, they've got something they call the long-term forecast, and that there is a 27-day forecast that, that NOAA puts out. I did a video on it. One, NOAA doesn't call it a forecast, they call it an outlook. And two, it's definitely not an aurora forecast. It's more of a radio interference forecast. And it's based on features on the sun. If there's a bunch of sunspots, then maybe there'll be more activity. I wish the apps wouldn't put it on there because it misleads a lot of people. We even recently had news stories where somebody at a news agency gets excited because there's red 2 weeks from now, and they start putting out stories, and everybody else jumps on it, and nothing happens because, there's a chance that something will happen, but certainly no guarantee. And this one, you can pay to get that information. You can just Google it and say NOAA 27-day outlook, and that will give you the same information, just not formatted as nicely. If you scroll on, there's the third app here. This is what I recommend people use at night. It's the NOAA 30-minute forecast, straight off the NOAA website. That's exactly what it looks like on the website. You can see this is the Aurora Oval, which is very active, especially when you get reds in here. This is the light dark line, the Terminator. So eventually the Earth will rotate and for North America, will be under that oval. Hopefully it's still there. It may or may not be based on the forecast. So I recommend waiting until that is covering your area of the map. And it's driven by this HPI number, and I recommend people pay attention to HPI at night rather than KP, because that takes that real-time data into effect and updates every 5 minutes or so. So it's constantly updating, and you can see the trends. A good place to see that is on Space Weather Live, which I will cover in another review. And then down here is basically the data from the satellite again. So you don't really need to look at it. This is straight off the NOAA's website, where it's not formatted as nicely. Below that is the history of the KP values. So you can see that they differ a little bit between different locations, and then they get averaged. K is the measure, P is the average across the planet. It's actually German, but the planet in German starts with a P as well, so it's planetarisch or something. I don't know German. And this is magnetometer, and you can see that it's really flat here. This one is in Sweden. They only have one. Canada has a dozen or so. So this is actually what KP is based on. Let's see, did I switch to one of the other ones? Oops, no. So KP, when it's flat like this, KP will be low. When it starts fluctuating like this, the KP will go high. The K measurement is actually a measurement of how much that measurement of the magnetic field from the magnetometers is varying based on those measurements. For KP, it's average across several locations, I think about 13 around the world, and different organizations use different sets, different locations, so they don't always quite exactly agree, but they're usually pretty close. So that's actually what KP is. It's so they're trying to indirectly measure the solar wind based on how much it's disturbing the Earth's magnetic field. And this app is called Aurora Alerts, and they generate alerts, but you have to pay for them. And certainly feel free to do that. You could pay. And the alternate would be to pay, just have a paid version of an app. This one's free. Some other apps generate alerts, but they have advertising in them. So if there's always that trade-off, they need to make money some way, certainly to pay for the software development, maintenance, and things like that. and they may be paying for data sources as well. So, they need to pay for their app some way. There isn't a whole any in here that I really want to be notified of. KP would be useful, I guess. This local Aurora Alert might be useful. Overhead or on the horizon, BZ might be useful. But as I say, there are other apps that will do that for free, but the flip side is you get ads with it. So I really like this app. I think it displays all the critical information and displays it in a nice, easy to understand format. But the only thing that's missing is the alerts. It's definitely an 8 out of 10, and it's one that's on my phone. I tend not to use apps a whole lot. I usually just go straight to the NOAA websites or use Space Weather Live to get the hemispheric power. But yes, it's certainly a good, useful app. So that's Aurora Alerts. I think the information that they provide for free is extremely useful. It's all the most important information formatted in a really nice, easy to understand format, and it's got some weather information, and it's got the moon and sunrise and sunset times, all of which is important when you're planning to go out and hopefully see or photograph the aurora. As I said, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely check it out. I have no relationship with any of the things that I ever review or talk about. So it's just my opinion, but I do like this app, and I do recommend it to people that ask which app should they use. And with that, please check out episode 34. It's going to be another review of my Aurora forecast and alerts. It's another fairly basic app that displays the same information in slightly different ways. So and has free alerts with it. So it's another option that a lot of people like. With that, I'm wishing you clear skies and happy hunting.